Would you believe me if I told you an 18-year-old went up against NBA superstars in their primes and outplayed them all? Maybe you would if I told you that player was Luka Dončič. EuroBasket 2025 has arrived. Multiple-time MVPs Nikola Jokic and Giannis Antetokounmpo are under pressure to win a gold for their country. The other superstar is not under any pressure at all, and you'll find out why in this video. When people talk about teenage Luka Dončič, everyone focuses on his EuroLeague accomplishments, which are incredible. Rookie of the Year, MVP, Finals MVP, and won the championship in the second best league in the world. But while that is the most remarkable feat of any teenager in the sport's history, I don't even think that's Luka Dončič's greatest accomplishment, because when I tell you about what he did in EuroBasket 2017, you'll probably be even more confused about how he wasn't drafted number 1. For American viewers who might not understand, EuroBasket is a tournament held every 4 years. Like the Olympics, all the top nations come together to compete for a championship. The only difference is that it's Europe only, so there's no USA basketball or Canada. But having no Team USA makes it so competitive. This is the chance for the other major basketball nations like Spain, France and Serbia to win a major international trophy. The rivalries span back centuries. It is a very personal competition that means everything to European hoopers. There's a reason why this year you see Luka, Giannis and Jokic all suiting up for their national team, when they could be sat back and enjoying their summer waiting for the NBA season. But for those guys, they'd actually rather win a title for their country than an NBA championship. Don't believe me? Just watch how Jokic reacted to winning an NBA title.
No. I need to go home. Hello.
Compared to Olympic bronze in Paris last year. If that doesn't do it for you, allow Luka to say it out loud.
What would mean more to you? A gold medal with the Team Slovenia or NBA championship with the men?
I would say gold medal with Slovenia.
But now that we know what the EuroBasket is and what it means, let's rewind to 2017. Going into the tournament, everybody was looking at the big shots. Spain, France, Germany, Serbia, Greece. But the team that everybody was wrong to sleep on was Slovenia. Now Slovenia doesn't have much basketball history. They had never qualified for the Olympics and never won a medal at any FIBA tournament before. And that was to be expected. They have a population of just 2.2 million people, and only 13 Slovenian-born players have ever played in the NBA. No bonus for guessing who the 14th was. Going into the tournament, their roster was nothing special. Beginning of 2017, FIBA released their world rankings. Slovenia were outside of the top 10 at 12th. The only NBA player on the roster was Goran Dragic, who at the time was a very respectable NBA starting point guard, but he'd never been an all-star, not yet. The only former NBA player was Anthony Randolph, who spent 6 seasons as a backup in the NBA before heading to Europe and being a role player at Real Madrid. On paper, in comparison to the rest of the tournament, the roster was average. Not only did they lack NBA talent, but they only had 3 EuroLeague players on the entire roster. And it's not like they were star players in Europe either. Ido Muric and Alan Omic were bench warmers who played less than 50 EuroLeague games combined. The only other EuroLeague player was an unproven 18-year-old teenager. But as we now know, that guy wasn't an ordinary kid. The tournament started and Slovenia took on Poland in their first group stage game, and in a game that was a little too close for comfort, Goran Dragic took over.
Here's Dragic. It's an interesting battle. Dragic carries on. Dragic on his own. To his right, moves to his left, goes down the lane himself, and
the Miami Heat guard led the way with 30 points, but he didn't act alone, because the youngest player on the court contributed in many ways, especially in the fourth quarter.
Dončić from range, Dragic into the lane, goes inside out, what a pass, Dončić! Dončić for 3, knocks it down!
A young Luka stuffed the stat sheet with 11 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists and 2 steals, helping Slovenia to victory in the tournament opener. But their next game was an even bigger challenge, taking on Finland, led by NBA lottery pick Lauri Markkanen, who in this game showed exactly why he was the number 7 pick in the NBA draft.
Wilson out, Markkanen for the perimeter, go! Ratniko has left the ball behind there. But Markkanen picks up the pieces and puts it down. Instead, looks to help out Koivisto. Markkanen this time goes for it. Oh, and drains it. Salin, good pass, Markkanen!
Laurie and Dragic went blow for blow, with the Finnish superstar scoring 24 points on 9 of 13 shooting. Dragic led all scorers in the game with 29 points, while Luka had his quietest game of the tournament with just 8 points and 8 rebounds. But they all count, and Slovenia needed every one of them in a game that went down to the last possession.
Koivisto to Markkanen, takes it outside, puts it up. It won't go.
He stepped out of bounds.
Slovenia were off to a flying start, 2 wins from 2 winnable games, but their next game was their first real test, facing off against the Greeks. This was a strong Greece team, with Antetokounmpo, EuroLeague legends Nick Kalafis and Kostas Lukis, veterans like Papagiannis, Papanikolaou, Papapetru. This wasn't going to be easy, and yet for a young Luka Dončič, it was.
Dončić from way downtown, good! Magarat thought about the three, then went to Nikolic, and now Dončić again! Miles there for the offensive rebound, and Dončić. Sanchel for three.
Luka led all scorers in the game with 22 points. He shot 7 of 12 from the field, made 3 of his 7 3-pointers, and also had 5 rebounds and 3 assists. Carrying his nation to victory against one of the top teams, Slovenia were now 3-0 in the group stages and emerging as a dark horse in this tournament. In Game 4, Slovenia took on Iceland and, as expected, handled business.
Firing turn, throws possession away. Blazic on his own, puts it down. By Barrington, but here comes Dragic, and he always responds.
Dragic led the way with 21 points, while Luka coasted his way to victory with an efficient 13 points, 6 rebounds and 3 assists. By the time of the final group stage game, Slovenia with a 4-0 record had already secured their place in the knockout stage. They could have taken it easy in their final group game, but Slovenia saw it as an opportunity to make a statement. France had everything to play for. They were one of the tournament favourites, stacked with talent. Prime Evan Fournier, NBA champion Boris Diaw and EuroLeague MVP Nando De Colo, along with a stacked roster with countless players having NBA and EuroLeague experience. But once again, the dynamic duo of Dragic and Dončić was too much to deal with.
Enabling that one.
Here's Goran Dragic. Step back three, good! And switches to Dončić from the perimeter. Drains another three! Dragic in the meantime to Dončić, takes aim, Dragic puts Levine on the floor and Vidmark. Dragic going all the way and then shifting it out, and it's Dončić from the corner.
Dragic delivered the goods again with 22 points and 8 assists, while Luka shared the burden, doing a bit of everything, with 15 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists and 2 steals. It was a convincing blowout victory, and everyone was suddenly forced to take Slovenia seriously. They had cruised through the group stages with a 5-0 record and defeated 2 top teams by beating Greece and France. But still, nobody really believed they could go all the way, except Slovenia themselves. As the number 1 seed qualifying for the round of 16, they had a favourable matchup with Ukraine. Goran Dragic had an off game with just 5 points on 2 of 12 shooting. Someone else needed to step up, and the kid they call Wonder Boy answered the call.
We have to be careful here as Dončić now dancing with the dribble in the lane, gets his man to lift. What a move.
Luka Dončić did it all again. 14 points, 9 rebounds and 6 assists, stepping up when his co-star struggled, easing the tension as Slovenia cruised past Ukraine and into the quarter-finals. Now this is where things get serious. Only 8 nations remained, all the big countries were still in contention, and Slovenia's next opponent was a team that many experts predicted to be a dark horse. Latvia, led by a prime Kristaps Porzingis, who was an NBA All-Star at the time. He was on fire during the EuroBasket, averaging 23 points per game. With help from the Bertans brothers, Latvia was a force to be reckoned with.
And Porzingis, little mid-ranger. Babas Bertans. Passes to Porzingis. And cool as you like. Porzingis now taking one-on-one in transition and knocks it in and one. Strelnieks. Strelnieks gets it back to Porzingis. He takes the contact.
But Slovenia, and particularly their young superstar, weren't gonna back down from anyone.
Up to Muric. Dončić for three. Good! Look at him. He says, I got this. Back outside to Dončić. It's good!
Going into the fourth quarter, Slovenia had a narrow lead, and then Porzingis took matters into his own hands.
Great position from Porzingis. And just gets a little bit of space.
With 5 minutes to go and a spot in the final four awaiting, Slovenia's lead was slipping, and it was in this moment, when he was never needed more, that we saw for the first time on the big stage, Luka magic.
Dončić.
Woo! Right at Porzingis.
He took it to him. Shot clock winding down. Dončić puts up a long one.
Oh!
Dončić pulls back again, puts up a three. Good!
And even after a late push from Porzingis to get his team right back in it, with the game on the line and the pressure mounting, the young teenager went to the line with confidence and sealed the deal.
And pressure, what pressure?
This was game of the tournament. Kristaps Porzingis couldn't have done any more individually. He had 34 points. Bartons chipped in with 23. Latvia's two NBA players combined for 57 points. But the Slovenian stars were on another level. Dragic chipped in for 26 points and 8 assists. But the difference between the two teams was the kid from Europe. Luka led Slovenia in scoring with 27 points. He had 9 rebounds, made 4 3-pointers, and scored double-digit points in the fourth quarter alone. This was the game everyone was watching. People in Europe had heard whispers about a generational talent from Slovenia. However, this was the game where even the biggest Dončić doubters realised that this player would be one of the all-time greats. But more importantly, Slovenia was in the semi-finals, the furthest they'd ever reached in an international tournament. This was uncharted waters for them, but it was familiar territory for their opponents. Spain, the current holders, the pre-tournament favourites, the team almost every expert had picked to win the gold. Along with Slovenia, they were also undefeated till this point. They destroyed everyone that stood in their way with blowout after blowout after blowout. History was on their side too. This was the golden generation of Spanish basketball, the same core that challenged Prime Team USA in the 08 and 2012 Olympics, winning silver twice, the same core that had won 3 of the last 4 European championships. The roster was stacked. They had Pau Gasol fresh off of an all-star season in Chicago, a Marc Gasol still very much in his prime, one of the best passers in basketball in Ricky Rubio, lottery pick Juancho Hernangomez and his brother Willie, who was also an NBA player, and to fill out their roster, they also had Sergio Rodriguez, a EuroLeague MVP, 3-time European champion who at the time was a starter for the 76ers. We can't forget about Juan Carlos Navarro. Slovenia's run was a cute Cinderella story that was supposed to end right here, but what makes basketball beautiful is that the impossible can become reality.
Dončić about a meter behind the arc.
In so many ways.
Dončić, another jumper, banks it in. Slovenia. Dončić. Zagrats in the corner, good!
The champions collapsed. Slovenia somehow, someway stunned the Spanish dynasty. They didn't just beat Spain, they destroyed them. A 20-point blowout. Luka Dončić with 11 points, 12 rebounds and 8 assists took them apart. But he didn't act alone. This was a team effort, with 3 other players joining Dončić and Dragic by scoring in double figures. Defensively, they held the Gasol brothers to just 28 points. It was an incredible moment in FIBA basketball history, not only because it was one of the biggest upsets, but more importantly because Slovenia was now 8-0 and in the final of the EuroBasket. The one final obstacle standing between them and immortality, waiting for them in the championship game, was a nation that needs no introduction: Serbia. 3-time champions of Europe, 2-time champions of the world. Serbia was stacked. FIBA legend Bogdan Bogdanovic, the giant Boban Marjanovic, EuroLeague MVP Vasilij Micic. The game had the making of an all-time classic, and it did not disappoint.
Nice pass. Kuzmic inside. Dragic attacking Marjanovic. What a play.
Over 67%, but hasn't been able to hit down the 3 consistently.
Nice move from Dončić. scores over Anthony Randolph. Janovic had the ball but didn't collect it. Now Dragic pushes it quickly and lays it up and in.
First quarter was evenly matched, with Serbia going into the second period with their noses in front, but the momentum completely shifted in quarter two, and it all started with this highlight moment from yours truly.
Now Dončić explodes up the court. He takes it all the way. Oh! How about that from Luka Dončić? He is now in the game big time.
But leading the way for Slovenia's incredible run wasn't Luka, it was Goran Dragic, who dropped 26 points in the first half. He had some help from an unlikely catalyst in Klemenčič Popotnik, who shot the lights out.
Popotnik left open, he's going to take it, and he's going to make it. Popotnik says, I'm going to shoot it. Good!
In big games, you need role players to step up, and that's exactly what Popotnik did. He scored 21 points in the game and kicked off a Slovenia run, which helped them rally up 36 points in the second quarter to go into halftime with a 9-point lead. But everyone knew this was far from over, and as expected, the Serbians came storming back.
Bogdanovic has Blažić on his back, he puts it up in the line. Back to Marjanovic, and gets the friendly roll. Micic drives in. Oh, he's tough.
And then, with just over 4 minutes to play in the third quarter, Slovenia suffered a devastating, potentially championship-altering blow.
Drive in is going to hand it off to Matchman. Doesn't score against Dimas, but gets it back and draws. And now Dončić has gone down with an injury, and he is in pain.
Luka Dončič went down, injured, and unfortunately his night ended there. Slovenia would have to see out crunch time without their closer, and going into the fourth quarter with just 4 points separating the two teams, the European crown was anyone's for the taking.
Blažić, tough drive! Matchman open for three, good! Gets it to Blažić. Blažić pulls up for the jumper, good! Bogdanovic drives in, tough move.
Matchman in the post. So patient. Takes his time, gets to the spot.
And he puts Serbia back in front. And boy, you feel for Slovenia not having Dončić, one of their really two main guys. Prepelic for the three, good! Look at it!
And then into the final 90 seconds with a championship on the line, one team started to pull away.
It's Blažić on him, and he gets the high pick.
He turned the corner.
Bogdanovic goes in, gets blocked by Vidmar. Inside to Randolph.
Oh, nice fake.
Goes up. Oh, he tried to dunk it.
No foul.
Oh my God! And Nikolic fouled by Bogdanovic. But these things even out. Randolph can only laugh. Doesn't matter, his teammates at the line, and they both upstairs. So many guys have come to be to witness this. To do that and then have to beat a team like Serbia. And Randolph skies for the rebound. Blažić has it. Nikolic and Slovenia are on top of the EuroBasket world, folks. They are now going to be the best team in European basketball for the first time in their history.
And that was all she wrote. 93-85 Slovenia. They had done it. Luka Dončič and co did the impossible against a team that nobody gave a chance, went undefeated 9-0 and won the EuroBasket championship, capturing the first title in the nation's history. Goran Dragic was unplayable, scoring 35 points in the final, taking his country to the finish line, and deservingly won tournament MVP. But still, he couldn't have done any of it without the 18-year-old prodigy, who despite going down with injury played his part in the final, with 8 points, 7 rebounds and 2 assists in just 2.5 quarters of play. Luka Dončič had proved himself on the biggest stage. He averaged 14.3 points, 8.1 rebounds and 3.6 assists in the EuroBasket, was named the All-EuroBasket first team and won the Young Player of the Tournament award. He accomplished something as a teenager that still eludes the likes of Giannis Antetokounmpo and Nikola Jokic. He won a major title with his country and immediately put his name in the conversation to be the #1 pick in the NBA draft. And as we all know, he continued to make history. In the season following his heroics with the national team, he had arguably the greatest single season in EuroLeague history, winning Rookie of the Year, MVP, the championship and Finals MVP as a 19-year-old. So before his 20th birthday, he had already won a major title with his country, he conquered the second highest level of basketball in the entire world, and he had a resume in the European basketball scene that rivals some of the greatest ever, who played their entire careers in Europe. Luka Dončič could have retired there and then at 19 years old with a resume worthy of being in the Hall of Fame. And for that fact alone, not only was he unquestionably the most accomplished teenager in the history of the sport, he was, in my opinion, the greatest teenage basketball player of all time.